I have a crack pipe on my Vespa. Let's talk about that. Let's get cracking. Good moto morning. Welcome to Kraken's Garage. I'm your host, Eric. Today we're going to install a new muffler on my Vespa 946 that I have named Bella. We developed a crack in the pipe and we'll talk about that as we go through the installation. Not going to go through a whole how-to video, it's just going to be a quick time lapse of the installation, and we'll talk about how I interacted with Piaggio on an issue that was out of warranty. Let's get cracking. Right here is what we're talking about. It's since been welded. I'll throw some pictures up, but the warranty on this bike is 2 years from date of delivery. And this bike is 4 years old now. Coming up on 3-4 years that I've had it now, and it was leftover to boot when I bought it, so it's actually getting quite old. This bike was out of warranty when I got that crack pipe, and how I found out about it is I went to replace the rear tire, because you have to remove the muffler to get access to replacing the rear tire. And sounds like a big deal, but it's really not. A couple of screws and it pops right off, not a big deal. I saw the crack in the pipe, and I never heard any or felt any performance difference while riding with that crack pipe. It was cracked 90% around. I'll throw some pictures up. I threw it up on one of my threads where there's, you know, a lot of, you get a lot of expert opinions, and two people that were welders chimed in and said, absolutely, that was overheated at the factory and it had cracked, it was brittle, and they doubt it would even hold a weld. I checked into what a replacement cost of this muffler is. The drivetrain on this particular Vespa, even though it's a very rare Vespa, is in many of their bikes. The Primavera, the Sprint, that kind of thing. So the standard muffler is only $300 from head all the way back. $330, I want to say. This particular bike, because it's so unusual, is several inches longer to give you much more room on the bike, which I'm happy about as a tall person. But it requires about a 2-inch longer muffler. And as a result, there are very few of them out there, and the cost to replace this muffler from Piaggio, who owns Vespa, was $660. I almost passed out. The moral of the story here is, believe it or not, this 155cc scooter is their flagship, in my opinion. Not the GTS with the biggest motor and the most whiz-bang stuff on it. It's this work of art right here. This is all metal and just beautifully formed. So I reached out to Vespa, and Piaggio said, yeah, take it to your local dealer, have them tear it down. We understand it's out of warranty, and we understand you're looking for some goodwill here, but we make no promises. Now, this was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I said, that's not going to happen. And I replied an email in kind, worded properly. So again, when I briefly talk about these things, I'm not throwing haymakers at the company when I'm asking for some goodwill out of warranty. And I said, A, this is your flagship bike. B, take a look at this, weld, send it to your shop. I'm telling you it's a bad weld. No, I'm not taking it down to my Vespa shop and paying $100 an hour to tear it down, only to have Piaggio say, nope, it's out of warranty, and pay to put it back together. That's not going to happen. Plus we're in the middle of a start of a pandemic. And I said, I'll shoot video, I will shoot you FaceTime, whatever it takes to prove that what miles are on this bike, that I do own it, and this is an issue on this bike, which we did. And I didn't hear from them for a month and a half, so I politely reached out to them. Now, in the meantime, I have to say, I took this pipe off. I took it down to my local welder. Several of them wouldn't touch it. Said, no thanks, I don't think it can be repaired. One guy did, he repaired it for 60 bucks, and I slapped it back on there, and we're up and rolling again in the meantime. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Piaggio, if they do a Goodwill, that they're not going to require the old parts back, which in this case they did not. Piaggio basically was saying, we probably can't help you, it's out of warranty, and I just kept saying, look, this isn't right, this is a factory defect. So much of this scooter is handmade, part of the reason why it's so expensive, and somebody just made an error here. And Piaggio got back to me and said, you know what, you're right, no, you don't have to take it to the shop. As Goodwill, we will pay for 50% of the mufflers. So I called up AF1 where I bought this bike, spoke with the salesperson there at the counter. I forget his name, I'll throw his name up on the screen, who was an absolute wonder on my journeys, on helping me on my Vespa journeys and keeping my bike on the road. They ordered the pipe, I paid 50%, and it's delivered. So I haven't even opened the box. I've had it for quite some time. Since I started this channel, I can't get to all the fires I have blazing in my garage. So today we're gonna knock that out before I detail this and get it ready for spring, because it's kind of in bad shape right now regarding paint and finish and things like that. It really needs a good coat of wax and a cleanup. So that's my story behind the Krak pipe, and that was a joke. No, Kraken doesn't use any recreational drugs. It's a joke and a play on words. You shouldn't either if you want to stay alive and ride anything on two wheels. So never have, never will use anything like that. Don't you do it either. And this one came with a black muffler shield. I'll put the chrome one from the old one back on. So good stuff. These principles apply to any bike. Whenever you remove the exhaust, always replace the muffler gasket, the exhaust gasket, I should say. They're a one-shot deal, and when you crimp them down and tighten down the pipe on the head of the motor, it crinkles up this copper, and it's a one-shot use. Don't skimp, don't cut corners, or you'll wind up with a muffler leak, and that leads to bad things and bad performance on your bike. This area is where the battery lies, and you have these plastic clips with a self-threading screw that holds the battery cover on, and it's also a partial mud flap to protect the engine down below. These wear out over time. They're very soft plastic, so when I place order for parts, I always pick up some tidbits to help keep her right from the get-go. We'll pop these in. So the moral of this story that I share with you today is, even though your bike may be out of warranty, if there's a blatant flaw in your bike and it is out of the factory warranty, be respectful, don't take it personal, and approach them in a kind manner and talk to them through this issue to get some help. Piaggio was very kind to help me out with 50% of the price of this new muffler. I'm very eternally grateful, and I will remain a loyal customer as I am to AF1, where I bought the bike, and I get excellent parts and service from them in Austin, Texas. And I will be loyal to Piaggio regarding Moto Guzzi and Vespa. I just love the brand marquees. They're great bikes, and arguably the quality of that bike right there by far exceeds almost every bike I've ever owned. I know you probably think I'm full of crap on that one, but because it's just a scooter, but we'll talk about that bike in another video on why the quality is so high on it. So I'm happy to get that task off my bench, yay, and knock another part out of off of my workbench on things I need to do as we get ready for spring riding season. Do some closeout video of me on the bike test riding the new muffler to see if there's any issues. I thank you for watching. You're all legends. There's my ghost dog telling me to wrap this video up. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give it a thumbs down. If you want to see more in the future, hit the subscribe button right down there in the corner. And remember, folks, go riding. It's good for you. Peace.